Alrighty, guys, you're with Jade from Businessist. I just thought I would show you through a really nice little creation that we have put together for one of our clients. Now, in this particular circumstance, we're talking about a partnership whereby both partners want to contribute equally to the finances of the business. And to make sure that they're keeping track of who's contributed what. It can be really hard when you're talking about different bank accounts, a joint bank account as well, but they've both made personal transactions as well. So we just thought we put this together for them very quickly so that they had something that they could use for all of that. But we also doubled it up as an invoicing software while we went because it seemed to work really well. There is an invoicing program or sheet, I suppose. So the first thing that we've got here, which I'll run you through, is actually one of the form integrations that we've got. So for this particular one, it's an expenses sheet. Now, every time that there is an expense that's made by either of the partners, this would go into here. So I won't press on either because it does reveal information about the particular business that we've done this for. And of course, in the interest of protecting their confidentiality, we won't do that. So are you reporting a contribution or expense? Now, if I clicked on contribution, then it would give me the opportunity to input who has contributed, how much they've contributed, and on what date. So I can actually reconcile that with the bank feeds. Down here, it also gives the opportunity when you press expense, it will actually give you the chance to input. I'll just make that a little bit larger so it's clearer to see. So so on expense, it will give you the opportunity to input the name of the business that has invoiced you, the amount of the invoice, the GST paid, etc. On submission, it all goes through into this sheet right here. So you'll see we've got like insurance as an example, which goes under insurance and all of that as a code. And then will actually show up in other areas as being coded to that and the amount that was coded. So back to the calculation sheet, you've also got the add invoice or payment form. So if we go into that one, are you creating an invoice or applying a payment? Let's say that we are creating an invoice for somebody. Is the invoice to be made for a repeat client? We'll say no. So if it's a yes and it's a customer that you use quite regularly, then yep, it's going to have a drop-down box and the option to select them. If no, then client business name, client email, and the invoice period finishing of such and such, and the invoice frequency. It also gives you the opportunity to input the description, the hours, and the rate charged for those hours, and then submit the form. So for this particular client, this was a good working form. The amount of items was good, and invoice frequency and all of that. So this has been created tailored to what works for this particular client. Now, upon submission, that one will come through to this sheet here. Now, what will happen from this sheet is that when an invoice has not yet been paid, it will highlight in yellow, which draws your attention. You know that you need to pay some attention to that little yellow box there because it's asking you to do something. So if you've put this invoice on, if you've put this invoice through on the 12th of December, then you're going to know that, if it's not paid by the end of December, that you should probably get in touch with them. So you've got that opportunity to kind of have a very brief look and go, oh, okay, who's still outstanding, and you can actually see it. When they do make a payment, you go into the edit submission link and you add applying a payment. From there, it'll pop up with the amount that was paid, the payment method, and the payment date, which then automatically generates through back to the sheet and will show the amount that was paid and all of that. Where it shows up in other areas as well. So you can see we've got the expenses and the GST that's been paid, the income and the GST that's been received. And of course, all of the expenses are coded as well between delivery, vehicle costs, travel expenses, repairs, electricity, printing, etc., etc. So it gives you the opportunity to split all of those up too. Now, these boxes here will be used but have not yet been completed, as this is still kind of a work in progress before handover, but we've achieved most things that we wanted to achieve. This area here is going to be used for the most popular repeat clients. So you can actually see who's the most popular clients. Now, when you do submit, as this one here is, we've submitted to create an invoice, what you do is you would copy from there and you would just paste nice and easy straight into that box there, and it would paste all the way along all of the information regarding that particular entry. Where it all automates on this sheet. So I am going to apologize that you can't actually see more than you can see. You're just going to have to trust me in that it looks so much nicer than it does right now. It's just because of the confidentiality that we have had to, unfortunately, black out some things. So I've just zoomed into this one a little bit better for you as well. But what you'll see is that actually automates as well. So that's an automated invoice number, which is generated using the date and the business name. That worked well in order to get unique IDs for this particular client. Also the summary. So there are some key information points with that form that we put through, which will automate on the summary as well. As an example, we've got here for the weekly period. So weekly period is automated, finishing on the 1st of the 12th, 2021. That is also automated. Down here, we've got the item description. We know that the first 4 lines will automate, as well as the hours and the rate, which then automatically generates the GST and the subtotal. So this is really clever. It's all hands off. You don't have to do anything. Once you've submitted the sheet, it's so easy going. You don't really have to, put yourself too far out. Now, if we go over into the cover sheet, this is where the exciting stuff happens. So bear with me a little bit here. So yeah, again, there's going to be some things that you can't see, unfortunately, but you still get the gist of what's going on. So we've been able to split up the expenses dependent on the expense type. So you can actually see what it is that each of those areas you're spending the most money in. Over here, we've got the partnership information for the shared expenses. So when we input an expense, we also have the opportunity to input whether it's a shared expense. So although we've input it as having, as being an expense for the business, is it something that one person is going to utilize where the other is not, and that they don't want to put in for this particular item? This kind of helps to keep things a little bit cleaner when you're not really sure about, maybe you need a tablet for the business, but you want it to be your tablet for the business. So it's still a business expense, but you're the only one that's using it, and your partner doesn't want to chuck in for that. So you can definitely separate that as we've got up here. So all shared expenses have been split between business partner 1 and business partner 2, and then have been combined into a total tally there as well. It's then been put into this bar down here where you can see the amount that each have contributed. Now, obviously, this partner has contributed a little bit more all up than what this partner has, which just means this one's going to have to do a little bit of a cash injection to catch up. As we come down here, you can also see the amount of invoices which have been put out, so the amount of invoices which have been sent, as opposed to the amount of invoices which have been paid and are outstanding. So this is a fantastic tool of keeping track of what is going to work for you in keeping a hold of the invoicing and how far behind some clients may get with their invoices and stuff like that. It's just a really good tool for being able to track what you're doing. In this particular one over here, we've got the account information. Now, the money contributed, that's all of the money that has been put into the joint account based off the submissions that have there. Over here, based off the submissions here into contribution. We know that if we're contributing and that if invoices are being paid as well, the combination of the two of them is adding money into the account, which all automates here. And the money that's spent, of course, comes out of the expenses from the joint account. So it only counts those. It's quite a nifty little sheet. Then we've got the available balance. Now, this matches up perfectly with the bank records for this particular client, which is fantastic. So what you can also see down here is that the full amount that's so you can see over this side the amount of money that's been spent and the amount of money that's available as well, which is great. Now, back where I was talking about shared expenses and unshared expenses, at this point in time, there are no unshared expenses that have currently been logged. But when there are, this is going to be really handy. So these are actually the final figures. The all expenses is the final figures. The expenses that are shared and then the expenses that are not shared. So the expenses that one individual may carry or may take the brunt of, as opposed to the other, would all go in there. So for this particular client, I have a feeling it's going to work really well. We are still in the demo phase at this point in time, but I'm very confident with it. I've been uploading those sheets and everything for her so that she's had the opportunity to see how it's working, and so that I've had the opportunity to actually double check all of my maths and my formulas. And at this point, it's working really, really well. So I'm excited by it. I love this. This is fantastic. If you do feel at all inspired, if it makes you think what could possibly be done for your business, definitely don't hesitate to get in touch. So we are Businessist, of course, and you can contact us on 02 67 607 234, or you can contact us at www.assistmy.biz. We're always happy to try and help. If you've got a fun task like this one for us, definitely get in touch. This is the stuff that I live off. So rather than sitting there and trying to work out all the formulas that I've spent ages working out myself, you might as well just get in touch with me. I could probably get through it a lot quicker for you, and then you can actually put the time into your business where it should be. So definitely feel free to get in touch if you've got any ideas that I can help with. And we look forward to checking in with you next time. Make sure you check out some of our other videos, because you will see some fantastic things that we have been able to achieve, and that too might inspire you. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you've enjoyed.